I have Autodesk Fusion 360 open, and we're going to be working on drawing the clock face. Up here in the left-hand corner, there's this grid of squares. If you click on that, you can see that I have created a folder called Clock, and in it I have a couple of designs. Well, I'm going to make a new design, and I'm going to save this as Face Demo 2020. The first thing I want to do is make a couple circles, and I'm going to use the center diameter circle. Next, I need to select a plane for those circles. I'm going to select this front plane, and then I can click, left mouse button, click again, and drop in these circles. You notice I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to the diameter. I'm just putting them in. Okay, I'm going to press Escape to leave the circle tool, and then under Sketch, I'm going to select Sketch Dimension. This center circle I want to be 0.3125 inches in diameter. This outer circle I want to be 4.95 inches in diameter. Okay, with these two circles, I'm going to create an extrusion. Here I select space in between the two circles, and I want to extrude them a distance of 0.25 inches. I can click OK. This creates a three-dimensional solid. Now you look down here, this is the sketch, and this is the extrusion that I've created. I can move this to go back in time or forward in time to the different things I've created. Also, if you're using a trackpad, you can click on this cube to get different points of view. With a mouse with a scroll wheel in the center, you can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. You can also press and hold the scroll wheel and rotate the object. Okay, I now have this three-dimensional solid, and I want to put 3 mounting holes through it. I'm going to start with a line, and this is just to get a reference for the mounting hole, and I'm going to select this front face of the solid. Then I'm going to click on the center, drag up, and click again. Doesn't really matter where I click. I'm now going to press D to switch to dimensioning. Let me press Escape first, and then D, and I have the dimensioning tool. I'm going to click on that line, and then click again to drop that dimension in, and I want that dimension to be 2.309 inches. Press Enter. This gives me a point to put my first hole. Okay, to create the first hole, I'm going to go Create, Hole. I need a face, so I'm going to select this face, and then I need a reference, and I'm going to select that point. The hole type I need to set as tapped. I'm going to ignore distance. Right now we're going 1.6 inches. That's plenty to get through the 1/4 inch thick face. With thread type, I'm going to have ANSI unified screw thread selected. Size, this is obviously way too large. I want a number 6 screw. And so if you look here, 0.138 number 6 inch, I can select that. Class 2B is fine, and I do want right-hand thread. I can click OK. Now if I rotate and zoom in here, you can see I have this tapped hole which goes all the way through. Okay, I have this hole up here, but I need 3 of them. So I'm going to go Create, Pattern, Circular Pattern. I want to pattern a feature. I'm going to select that feature. I can either select it up here, but I find it's a little easier to click it on it down here. And click on that hole. The axis, I want this axis. Select that. Type full quantity 3. Everything else is okay. I'm going to click OK. And now I have the 3 holes. Okay, now on the back of the clock face, we're going to want a square recess to prevent the clockworks from rotating once they're mounted. I'm going to select Create Sketch. I'm going to select this surface. As you can see, I have a new sketch down here. Now I'm going to select Sketch, Rectangle, Center Rectangle. Now click in the center here, and then click again. I'm going to press Escape on the keyboard to get out of the rectangle tool, but I want this to be a square. I'm going to select one of the sides and make it equal to another slide. Now I'm going to press D on the keyboard for dimension, and this square is going to measure 2.2 inches. Now if we were milling this out with a very small end mill, this would work, just this geometry. However, we may use an end mill as large as 3/4 of an inch in diameter, which would mean there would be a very large radius in these corners that would prevent the clockworks from fitting. So I need to make accommodations for that. I'm going to go to Sketch, Circle, Center Diameter Circle. I'm going to click on this diagonal line and then click again at the corner of the square. And I'm going to do that for all 4 corners. Now I have 4 circles which are different sizes, and I want them all to be the same size. I'm going to press Escape on the keyboard to get out of the circle tool. I'm going to select this top right circle, make it equal to this circle, and then I'm just going to repeat that for the remaining circles. Now all the circles are the same size and I can dimension them. I'll press D on the keyboard, or I can go to Sketch, Sketch Dimension, select one of the circles. Now the largest end mill I would use to mill this pocket is 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So I'm going to make the diameter of these circles slightly larger than that at 0.76 inches. Now I have 4 circles the same size which intersect the corner of the square. Now I need to turn that into a pocket. I'm going to go Create, Extrude, and I need to select all of the geometry that I want to extrude. So it didn't seem to grab all of it. I want to extrude this a distance of 0.125 inches. Seem to have accidentally selected too much. Let me see if I can. There, that's the right set of selections. So it's going to extrude cut what I've selected here into this solid. Now I have this pocket on the back to receive the clockworks. I should point out something very important about using good CAD software like Fusion 360. In Fusion 360, you see down here at the bottom, you have these different actions. The first sketch, the first extrusion, the next sketch, the hole, the pattern of holes, the sketch for the pocket in the back, and the extrusion for the pocket in the back. You can go into any of these and edit it. So for example, if I right-click on this hole pattern and click Edit Feature, I could increase the number of holes to 6. Now I have 6 holes. I'm going to change that back to 3. But as you're working, if you find that you've made a mistake or something needs updated, you can always go back and change that. Okay, the next thing we need to do is add text to the face of the clock for the numbers. Now, admittedly, in Fusion 360, text is not as slick as I would like, but it is workable. So, the first thing I'm going to do is create a sketch. I'm going to select this surface, the front of the clock face. Then under Sketch, I'm going to select Text. And then I can click where I place the text. I'm going to place text there, type 12, make it bold, and click OK. And now I'm going to add in the remaining numbers 1 through 11, just following the same process. All right, now that I have all of the numbers there, I'm going to need to do several things to get them positioned where I want them and get them sized where I want them. The first thing I'm going to do is work to get them sized the way I want them. So if I press D, I can select one of the sides of one of these numbers and dimension it. I'm going to set that at 0.8. I'm going to press Escape to leave the dimension tool. Now, if I select this side and select Equal, select this side, the 1 changes to the same height. And I'll continue around with the rest of the numbers. All right, now all of the numbers are constrained to be the same height. If I come in and double click on this dimension and change it to 0.5, they all change. If I change it back to 0.8, they all change. Also, I can come in and change the font of these numbers. Let's take the 11. If I double click on that, I can switch the font to, let's say, Apple Gothic. But I'm going to leave it as Arial. So I can now adjust the size of the numbers, but they're not positioned correctly. To position them, I'm going to go to Sketch, Polygon, and I'm going to go with an inscribed polygon. The polygon tool can possibly take a few times to get right, but I'm going to select the center and move up here. Now I want this to be at 2 inches, so I'm going to type 2 on the keyboard. Then I'm going to type Tab. Might have to hit it a couple times to get over to 6. I don't want a 6-sided polygon, I want a 12-sided polygon, so I'm going to type, oh, it moved back to the 2. Tab, I'll have to do it quickly, Tab 12. Now I have a 12-sided polygon. Now I'm going to move the pointer so that it's straight up vertically from the center of the circle and click the left mouse button again. It may take a few times to get all that stuff done in the right order, but that's how I drop in that polygon. Now that I have this polygon, I'm going to get the line tool, just selecting this and pressing L. And from each of these corners of the polygon, I'm going to put in a line that goes straight down, like so. So there's one there, and press the line tool again, put one in there, press escape, press L for line tool. I'm just going to work my way around the circle. Now you notice on these lines it's put in the vertical constraint. That's good, we want that. If it didn't put it in, go ahead and select a line that's missing that and add that vertical constraint. Where does it show up here? Well, I haven't selected a line, so it doesn't show up, but it would look like this. So now I need all of these lines to be the same length. So I'm going to select this one, click equal, and select that one. You can see it's got the equal constraint on those. And I'm going to continue on around doing that. All right, now that all the lines are the same length, I can set that length. So I'm going to press D for dimension, select this line here at the 12 location. I'm going to set that at a length of 0.3 inches. Now I'm going to use the ends of these lines to position the numbers. The way I'm going to do that, I'm going to get out of the dimension tool by pressing escape. I'm going to select the end of this line. I'm going to select this midpoint triangle and select this bottom line for the 12. And you can see it puts the midpoint of the bottom line of this 12 rectangle at the bottom point of that line. Now, I'm going to need to do some adjusting of this 12 rectangle to make that look right. I wish there was a text center justify tool, but I have not found it. And then I just go around and repeat that process for all of the numbers. Except you can see what happened here with the 1. It put this at a bit of an angle. So if that happens, select one of the sides of the rectangle containing the number. And select the horizontal vertical constraint. So in this case, it put the 3 in upside down. So hit Control Z or Command Z to get out of that. I'm going to manually move this up here and try again. There we are. So with a good deal of patience, it's possible to get the numbers placed. Something I've noticed as I've gone around is that often it will tilt the number imperceptibly. So it may be a good idea to go around and add horizontal vertical constraints to all of the number boxes for good measure. All right, and here we have it, our clock face. Go ahead and save that. And I'm also going to leave this sketch by just clicking Stop Sketch down here.